For sure. So everybody good?
Yeah,
Yes,
man.
sir.
To another episode of the Bro Foundation. Profound conversations with brothers across the nation. You know? Yeah, man. So we all here this week, you know. So it's good to have everybody, you know, in
Full house.
intact, yeah, you know. Yeah, so you know, shout out to everybody who checked out last week's episode. You know, we talked about some, you know, like health is always an important subject. So, you know, anytime we talk about health, we can almost talk about it all, you know, on multiple levels, you know, there's a lot of layers when you talk about health. So, yeah, just shout out to everybody who checked it out. It's up on YouTube right now, the Bro Foundation channel on YouTube right now. You know, if you haven't checked it out, go ahead and check it out, and then you know, stay for this one too. You know. So yeah, we just appreciate everybody who continues to tap in, and you know, like I said, we appreciate any and all feedback. So don't be shy. You know, we hold each other accountable. So we got to be willing to accept, you know, constructive criticism, you know, out from beyond the group as well. So any and everything that you know want to comment or share, we appreciate it. So, yeah. So yeah, for you know, so yeah, you say everybody's good this week. Everybody good.
Yeah. Yeah, how you?
Yeah, life is good, bro. You know, said no complaints. You know, live my life like it's chosen. You know?
Yeah, that's it, baby.
It's golden. You know what I'm saying? But no,
shout out to Jill Scott.
Yeah, shout out to Jill Scott for showing on that one. That's my mom used to love that song, man. She used to love that song because it's speaking to, and you know, like I said, being that it's recently been, you know, it's kind of a good segue. Women's International Month, International Women's Month. I'm not sure how that fully is said. I don't want to be wrong.
You right. Women's International. What is it, babe? Women's International Day Month. Women's International. The 8th was the month of March is the month.
Okay, yeah, for sure. So that song kind of speaks to, you know, women because they call once you hit 50, they say that's the, you know, that's the golden. That's why, you know, that show, The Golden Girls, was, you know, it was 50, you know, over 50. But, you know, when that song came out, my mom used to sing it all day, every day, living my life. I mean, she used to groove to it, boy. So shout out to the women, you know, even if you ain't hit that golden year, you know what I mean? Just shout out to the women, period. You know, it's we always got to show respect and love to our women who are in our lives, and yeah, just hold us accountable. You know what I mean? Like that's you know highly important. You know, so but yeah, you know, let's get into it. What we want to talk about today. We because you know we like to talk about a lot of different things on this podcast, on this show. You know, and we felt like we hadn't really delved into the topic of sex yet.
Right.
You know, it's a heavy topic. You know, it's one of those things that people kind of, you know, shy away from, don't really want to talk about too much. But there's a lot of, it's like we say on, you know, many occasions, there's a lot of layers to that topic, you know, and us as men, we, you know, it's definitely different from you know men and women's perspectives. But us as men, you know, it's important that I think that we have to hold sex to a high regard, you know, as opposed to just, you know, being kind of freelance with it and, you know, free with it. So I think, you know, it's something that we definitely need to talk about. You know, there's a few different points of views, different perspectives, like I said, different layers. So yeah, I mean, just talking about, you know, as men, you know, our life force is directly attached to, you know, us releasing that semen, you know. So the more we do it, and it's not in a constructed, or you know, if it's not in a you know, if it's just if you're just doing it with any and everybody, or just, you know, ejaculating, you know, whatever you want to call it, then, you know, you're really taking away your life force, you know. So it's important to have, you know, if you're gonna do it, you know, you want to make sure that you're doing it, you know, with one partner. You know, you don't want to just be out there spreading seed any and everywhere. Because I mean, like I said, we don't want to talk about seeds. I mean, because you know, you know. So like I said, this topic is definitely definitely deep on many levels. But how do you guys want to start it out? I mean, like I said, I think, you know, it's just important that we as men, you know, make sure that we're protecting ourselves. For one, like, you know, strap it up. You know what I mean? If you're a younger cat, you know, you're still able to be out here, you know, having seeds and all that. Make sure you're strapping it up, and not just even for the children on the children aspect, but just, you know, you don't want to be transmitting no diseases. You know, you want to make sure that that you're good on that front. But yeah, I just think, you know, especially when it comes to, like I said, our life force is directly attached to that. I think it's important that we make sure that, you know, we hold on to that and not just be, you know, free with it like that. So
Yeah. I think when it comes to it, man, I mean, whether this be the topic, part of the topic or not, but just my perspective, it all starts from the root, meaning like what parts of where we don't have control comes from what we don't know. And I mean, like, who was the man? Because in this kind of situation, I think it's where a man should be present and like understanding the control aspect, understanding what this feeling is, and then how to control it and handle it. Like, who guided us in this way? If there was, again, speak on it. But if there wasn't, who was that person? What was that thing, or who was that group of people who helped you now see things like, oh, this is actually important, or was it just all peer pressure? Because I know in my case, speaking from experience, there was no person like, hey, this is what you should do with this. You know, this is what this means when it comes to, again, being protected, how to then use it properly. Um, just the cleanliness of, even when it comes to shaving. So it's just like, but because of the lack thereof, I definitely extended myself more than I should have, where it was like that was like a wasted encounter. I could have kept that to myself. But for me, again, I think, just to keep it short, the root of the lack thereof, the lack of knowledge, the lack of awareness, or even self-love, self-care. I was just like, should I do what I want to do and not think twice about it? But then you become numb to that. So I think just for me, it's like the lack thereof guidance, it just enhances that for a lot of men, not just myself. I'm sure it's for a lot of men, but it enhances that awareness or the lack thereof that.
I'm gonna say this too, was like what you brought out with the peer pressure, and it starts like for me, it was like even being young, man, like just watching, because like even whenever I was in Pampers, you know, like it was you was able to tell what a boy was gonna like whenever a woman come across on the screen, and my dad was like, "Oh, my son, he's not gonna be this way. He's gonna like women. He's gonna like this." You know, and it was like it's programmed inside of our minds, like because you know, like sex sells a lot. You know, like if you want to sell something, like people put a female on it, you know, have dress, and you know they're gonna draw males, they're gonna draw people to that because of what they see, and off of the eyes of people, like when we see things, that draws us to different things. So it's being like growing up, you know, like looking at the examples that I had, it was more about like I was literally like grew up with older uncles that been in the game a long time. Oh, this is the game, son. You go, you hop on that girl, you get her number, you do this, you do that. So it's applying so much pressure. And then whenever you around your peers and people like your friends and stuff, everybody, hey man, like J. Cole say, man, being a virgin ain't nothing to be is embarrassing, you know. So you like, oh, I gotta show myself as being one of those people that's like cool, and it's like, that's what forces a lot of people to go engage in some of that. And it's like, I didn't realize how sacred, like sex was until I got married. Because it was like, with that one person, you have different emotions because you can feel the love and everything like through that, But when I was out in the streets, it was just like anger. It was like, I don't know why I was doing what I was doing. It was just because it was cool, like I said. And it is like the person that I am, I wasn't trying to hurt anybody, like a female was. And I'm like, I wasn't trying to hurt your emotions. That wasn't my thing to do. But by me, like, looking cool in front of my peers and my boys, man, hey man, you did that with her. Y'all went through, you did that. Yes, I did, but it wasn't something that I was proud of, and I like, until I got older and understood, like, it's not like being with that one person that you're supposed to be with. It shares that much. You don't have to worry about diseases. You ain't got to worry about nothing happening, like that in that case. So it's a very, like y'all said, man, it's a very peeling back the onion topic, bro. Like, it's a lot engaged in it. But peer pressure is the biggest thing, man, especially like with younger people, because you don't fully understand. And just like what you say, Cole, if nobody's there to like sit you down and tell you about the birds and the bees and whatever, you learning it from your friends or other people is not going to be worth anything, So
You're really just giving yourself up freely. Like, you have no value. You're not valuing yourself. You have value, you're just not valuing yourself because you don't know what that value mean. Like, and I just think, again, us, a lot of men aren't taught to think with our male parts. You know what I'm saying? I feel like, let me say that back. I feel like we are taught to think that way more so than to think with our heart first or our head first. It's like, dang, she bad. Let me see that. You know what I'm saying? And it's literally just that. It's not like, well, dang, do I actually have what it takes to provide for this woman? Ooh, and I just think that's, again, that programming, like you said.
Absolutely. I really feel this is it's a very slippery slope once you get on it. Like, and no pun intended.
I won't go say nothing this time.
In school, you're taught about everything about your physical body, how things work, how things gonna work during the actual act of. But the part that's left out of it, at least as far as men, and maybe it was just with me, is the emotional attachment that goes along with. During this process, you have where somebody is actually, they're giving themselves to you. It is up to you to respect that person, to you join in with them with the same level of emotions as they do. But us being men, that's not really how we're taught. Like, I remember a friend of mine a long time ago told me that men are attracted to men are love who they're attracted to. Women are attracted to who they love. That speaks volumes on how the emotion and the physical are attached. Where men could go out and do whatever and might not have a care in the world about it. Once it's over, it's done with, they're done with. The woman, she carries.
I don't mean to interrupt you. Can you say that one more time, though, bro? So run that back, because I want to make sure people actually hear what you just said. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Men love who they're attracted to. Women are attracted to who they love. And I said that told me a whole lot, as far as women's involvement, their emotional involvement with the act of sex versus men. And like I said, we're not educated like that. Once we start out, it becomes very much a lot of peer pressure. Unfortunately, a lot of information we get is probably from the last group of people that we need to be listening to. Our friends who going through the exact same thing that we're going through. And we're carrying on with the same mindset. And it's not until later on in life when if you're lucky, you kind of stop, pump the brakes, and realize, I probably should have waited. I probably should have did this and that with this person or these different people. But what you've actually done is by you participating in it without the emotion that's required to, you're diminishing the act itself. It means less and less the more and more you do it. Where the woman is concerned, she's still carrying that same level of emotion that she should. So every time that she does, and it doesn't turn out the way that she wanted to, or that the way that you portrayed it to her, it diminishes her little bit by little bit by little bit. And I think when I always hear people saying about it diminishes your life force, I think that's really what that's boiled down to. You're actually causing damage to this person because they felt that you're gonna be the one. Y'all gonna be there forever. And she didn't expect that you were just there for that night. So that's a little part of her that's been changed. That innocence, that loving of you, or just being that trusting with the next person. So as the next person comes along, there's baggage that he's gonna have to deal with that was left by somebody else. And all this goes back to what we learned and at grade school levels, our maturity and how we applied it. But unfortunately, like I said, a lot of us, we don't get, have that turnaround moment or that aha moment until it's later on in life.
Yeah, definitely, man. You guys all got kind of touched on a few different things, man. I kind of so like when you said, Corey, about like who taught you about sex, and for a lot of us, like you said, nobody really taught us. I mean, we in a sense had to learn on our own, and in the middle of that comes the peer pressure to where, it's like, oh man, you ain't like I think you said that, Jesse, like, oh man, you ain't what's up, man? You ain't, what I mean, what's going on with you, such and such, and it makes you feel, a certain way. But even going back before that, a lot of us got introduced to sex by, like you said, if we have uncles or other relatives, right? But what did they have? They had new magazines. You know what I'm saying? They had the nudie mags or the videos or something like that. You know what I mean? So you would sneak and watch and flip through those or watch the porno. You know what I mean? When they wasn't around. Because like you've seen that's what your uncles or that's what your elders was doing. So you was curious. You know what I mean? The thing about sex was crazy. Like even at a young age, even when the fact that you don't know what it is, you still know that it's doing so. This is different. You know what I mean? When you see it on the TV, when you see, like I said, you see it in a new magazine, it's do something different to you. You know what I mean? Like this ain't a normal feeling. Like what is this? You know what I mean? Like it ain't the same as just watching a regular comedy movie or reading a regular sports magazine. You know what I'm saying? As a young boy, you see some titties pop on the screen. It's like, whoa, that's what am I feeling right now? You know what I'm saying? This ain't a usual feeling that what I'm saying that I'm usually dealing. So you're confused in that aspect of it, but then like I said, it's not a bad feeling, but it's just one of those things that you're confused about, But then, so as you continue to go on, and like I said, you got the new magazines, and you got the peer pressure, and then it's like a big ball of what what I'm saying of confusion that you just feel like, oh, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. This is what we're supposed to be doing. I'm a young boy, I'm a young man. This is what we're supposed to be doing. You know what I'm saying? And that's where, like you said, so as you continue to grow older, that's where I think a part of it numbs us. You know what I'm saying? It numbs our feelings of truly understanding what it really is, because all that compiled into one, and you don't want to feel like you want to feel like you're a part of your friends. You don't want to look stupid. So you're gonna put whatever feelings you have about it to the back. You're not going to acknowledge it. You're going to refuse to acknowledge it. And I think, like I said, over time, that continues and gradually continues. And then that's where the whole, like I said, the more you in a sense start having sex, and then you become numb, just like you said, Henry, you might not have a feeling about it, but the woman that the young lady or the girl, who, that you had the sex with, they feel something about it. You know what I'm saying? Because that's how they're wired, you know. And that's it's crazy. But like speaking of like I said, the new magazines and the porn, it's like even Hollywood is almost based on sex. You know what I'm saying? Like everything, and when it comes to entertainment, it's all based on it. You know what I mean? So it's like it's getting thrown at us from any and every direction, and it's not fully explained, and that's part of the problem. Like I said, I had uncles around, but I also had aunties as well, and my mom was around, whatever. But so if my uncles are watching a movie or something, and some titties pop up on the screen, what they're doing? They're covering your eyes. You know what I'm saying? Like, as opposed to explaining what it is. Like, explain to me, like, okay, that's a woman's body. Make sure, anytime you get with a woman, make sure that you respect that woman. You know what I'm saying? This is a movie. This is TV. This ain't real life. You know what I'm saying? Like, so if it was explained to us at a younger age in that manner, I think we would have more of a, more of an understanding, more, be more included and less impartial to, just being out here, just, whoever we can get with, we gonna get with, you know what I'm saying? So I think, yeah, like I said, I think a lot of programming comes from Hollywood in those aspects. So, like I said, we have to make sure, and I'm gonna say this and I'll end it on this one. But it's kind of a double-edged sword, because like if you think about it, and I think it was the comedian Patrice O'Neal, he said, it's almost like you have to get it out of your system, wanting to be out in and out, out here, kind of getting, with multiple women. Because if you don't, you're not going to be prepared for marriage, in a sense. You know what I mean? Like, because it's I don't want to say it's hard to explain, but it's just one of them situations. As men, we, especially living in North America, that want is there regardless. It's there, So if you don't, in a sense, experience those types of things at a younger age, once you get to say 35, 40, and you really want to get married, but then you got multiple women throwing themselves at you, and you don't know how to handle it,
Right.
you're gonna fall victim. You're gonna fall victim. You know what I'm saying? And so that's one aspect of it too, to think about it. But it's messed up as it might seem. Like, we got to be out here, young, and when you in the 20s or whatever, even into your 30s, so to speak, you definitely got to enjoy your life. You know what I'm saying? If you're attractive, man, you're going to get a lot of women coming after you. That's just what it is. They become attracted to what they see physically, and even especially if you're smart, if you are articulate, women are attracted to that type of stuff. But you have to be smart enough to know, okay, where is this going to go? Where is this going to go? If I just do this with this woman, where is this going to go? Does it have any potential, or is it just me getting my rocks off? Mm-hmm. And you got to start weighing that out more and more the older that you get. So, and if you don't, then it's like when Nas said, you living in your second childhood, man. It's just time to grow up. So, yeah, that's how I kind of speak on that.
Yeah. And as you was going, it had me thinking, when we get to that stage of the awareness and we kind of knowing, okay, we kind of seeing these habits that we create. And I was talking to the gang earlier about this book I just got called Atomic Habits. And I think I told you about it, Ty. Just understanding these habits as you're growing up, understanding the why. Like, why is it that I keep getting the same results with, again, let's say with women, I keep getting them coming easy. If I'm an attractive man, how come I ain't have to try that hard? Again, just understanding the why to certain stuff can now help you break those habits. but that comes with a part of being in tune with yourself. So I think when we get to the stage of awareness, like, okay, this needs to slow down. I've got one chick, but I still got all these other chicks on the other end because I was living this lifestyle. You got to now understand your habits that you created and how to start breaking them. And then from there, which is me and what I understand, especially in this generation that we live in, the new habits that we create or that has been created for us, so to speak, is social media. Back in the day, I'm not saying our grandparents and whoever didn't have distractions because women and men are everywhere. But as men, we probably was working for the majority of the day and our wives back then was at the house. So whomever that was that. But again, that doesn't mean Geraldine down the street couldn't be a temptation to pops. You know what I mean? Like it don't matter. It was still a distraction. It just wasn't in your face. Now we got electronic devices, we have iPads and social media, and that's just the world we live in. That's a big part of our now issue and new habits that we created because now we don't find the value one in ourselves. So we moving the way that we moving. And then we not even valuing the women that we doing it with because they so accessible. And then it's like, how did we get there? What do we do now that we're aware? And then, I mean, even in my case, just being honest, what does that aspect of social media now do to a person in a relationship? So it's like you literally got to look at all these bits and pieces, like how we get here, what habits have I created before that and now, and then what's to come. Because like I said, with social media, you can scroll through your phone, like, dang, who's that? She stay all the way in Jamaica. Scroll over here. Oh, she over there in East wherever. I mean, she in Europe, she in Eastern Asia. But again, it's the access to just tap a couple buttons and boom, right there. So I just think though, just again, going to the roots to a degree, identifying these bad habits that we have, and then finding out the why. Because again, once we aware that okay, this needs to change, we got to start making some changes. And you know what I mean? I think that's another layer to it too, though.
Another thing too, man, is curiosity. Because a lot of times, that would cause you to stumble too as well. You just it's not right, but you're curious. Oh, let me see how far I can get with certain things. So you have to be like what you brought up earlier, Ty, about like being that little kid that was inside of that closet reading, like looking at my uncle's magazines and all of his stuff, bro. Like everything that he had, I was in there. I was that curious kid. So that lives that hunger, that what I like to say, I call it a monster that lives inside of you that made me like, you know what, like this is who I am, and that's not who I was, and not who I wanted to be, but it created that at a young age because that's what I saw. It was curious. And I wanted to see what it was, what it felt like, or whatever, So that would have those urges as far as a young boy growing up into a grown man. If you, like you said, Cole, if you don't deal with those things, those habits, it can really like ruin you, and you don't even want to be that way. But and you don't understand why you're that way. That's the whole point. Like what you said, you don't know why, and that's the part that flutters you because you're like, man, I don't want to. Like, whenever you see somebody hurt off of your actions, it allows you to look at it and be like, man, especially when it happens to you. If it comes back to you, like it did to me, and I was like, damn, I should have did this a little better from there, and it changed my life because I was able to see how that person felt. But when it was precipitated back to me, I was like, damn, now it's real because I'm feeling that emotion. So that's where you have to sit down and be real with yourself and process it. Because another thing you need to do too is you got to watch your circle, man. You know what I'm saying? And God blessed us to all to be together right now, man. Like we hold each other accountable for different things, man. And that is so great, man, to have because the people that you have around you, you gotta watch that, man, because like everybody not on your same level, or you might not be trying to get it. So for me, I wanted to stop smoking weed. And I knew for me to stop smoking weed, I had to stop going around the people that smoke weed. You get what I'm saying? So in order for me to heal and say, hey, I don't want to do that no more, and I'm not knocking nobody that smoke weed. That's your thing. That's your thing. But I'm just saying, for me personally, I wanted to stop for health reasons and whatever. But I knew for a fact that if I still hung around the same people, I was gonna still do the same thing. And that was the same thing inside of going to the clubs and chasing women. And that was the people. And I was like, well, hey, look, I love you guys, but I gotta run. I gotta run. I'm on a whole different journey. You know what I mean? So it is possible. You got 4 men right now that's telling you that it is possible because we all hold each other accountable for our own actions, and we real with each other. We tell each other, hey, bro, look. I even go down and tell them, hey, man, I gained diabetes back. You know, it just that's how close we are. So I can be real like that and just say, hey, man, everybody holding me accountable. Okay, what's your action now? What you gonna do about it? Like Tyrus, that's his favorite thing. What you gonna do about it? What's the plan? So get around some people that gonna hold you accountable, man, for like your actions and for because you can't be out here all willy nilly, bro. We can't be doing that. We trying to change the narrative, and we already soaked in by a lot of negativity on the social media and things that around us. So we putting out a positive message to try to help everybody understand from a different perspective, that you can still be cool and don't have to cheat whatever you want to do. So, so I wanted to put that out there. But still that curiosity, man, because that's where it starts at, man, because it's like you telling yourself in your mind, like, hey, man, I'm good. I don't need to do that. So whenever temptation come around, you can already be strong enough mentally to like reverse that or just run the other way. You know what I mean? So that's what's up.
I think a lot of the temptations and well, first and foremost, all right, everybody here has seen um some level of porn in their lives. But what we have seen and say when we were younger and starting out, it is not what it is now. With the advent of the internet and it being so accessible, what the young people now have within their grasp is some weird crap. There's no level of how a real relationship or real sex is depicted in any of that. All that stuff is based around violence and complete domination, humiliation. It doesn't show anything that's like a loving couple. It doesn't remotely paint the picture. It is not even a storyline, I don't think, at this point. But this is what they have access to. Now, back then, it would be a VCR tape or a DVD or something. But if you look at the cell phones, where they went from little flip phones to all of a sudden you had the iPhone, when you start accessing porn, you notice the phones start getting bigger and bigger. It's damn near like you walk around with a little TV.
Right.
Well, these young people, this is what they're learning from, because the same conversation that, conversations about the emotional part of it that we didn't get, there's a lot of them that's not getting that now, but this is what they're getting it from. So now you have them where young boys not even knowing how to deal with young girls in that manner. I think right now the pickup line is, what's your cash app? So they already, instead of it being a matter of trying to learn about you, they're already going with what they figure you want. What you're trying to get is the money. I don't need to know nothing else about you but how much. So that's already putting a price tag. That's already labeling how you going to address the relationship from that point on. Whereas you should be trying your best to build that emotional thing, to be able to learn as much about this person as possible, because this somebody possibly you want to potentially spend the rest of your life with. And if you don't do your due diligence to find somebody that's going to pour life into you, what you're going to do is find a bunch of people that's going to suck the life out of you. You got to look at, it's just such a big such a big pie, and sex, that's just a small part of it. You have health ramifications, because if you not really, if you don't hold the relationship in high regard, then you have more potential of making some piss poor choices health wise. Be it, if you decide that you go wear protection to protect both of y'all from diseases, not bringing any unwanted kids in, because how is that respectful? How is that something to celebrate when you can tell everybody you got 8 kids and you ain't but 21, 22, 23 years old? You have the wrong frame of mind wrapped around that act, and that's the products of it. And what you now have done, you started the process over, because now you got a bunch of kids that's not going to have a father present who probably going to follow the exact same path that you did. So all those things play a factor. You got sex, the physical part of it is just very small. It's emotional based and it's mentally based.
No, that's real, man. And it's so crazy. There's so much to unpack there, man. Like, you guys all hit on some very valid points. The temptation thing, man. Like, the temptation it's at an all-time high. I think Corey, you and Jesse both kind of spoke. You spoke on it too, Henry. But the fact that we live in an era of social media, like you said, Henry. All the pickup line is, what's your Cash App? What's your Snap? You know what I mean? Like, that's a pickup line, and you don't even really want to get to know a person. You just want to follow them and see what their life is and see what they're doing, and then every now and then, when they post a pic that's, what I'm saying, they have dress or something like that, then you go in like, ooh, so what's up? So no. I mean, and like you said, the temptation, it's on all facets, and granted, like you did say, because it's funny, Corey, you when you said that, man, like I have been thinking about it for a long time. Like, we live in, like I said, we live in a social media age, but if our grandparents had social media, they'd be doing the same thing as we are, because these are the times that we're in. So if back in them, like I said, back in them days, brothers was typically working. Even when I was in high school, we occasionally would maybe skip school and go to one of the local high schools and see who we can, like if they had an all city dance or something like that. That was maybe your only shot to see somebody from a different school. But for the most part, all you have is your school. I couldn't imagine what it would be like to be in school nowadays. I couldn't imagine, because, like I said, you have access to any and everybody that's around you. All the schools, all the different, even if they don't go to your school, like I say, I'm here in Washington, I could be talking to somebody down in Florida. I can be talking to somebody down over in Brazil, Dubai, wherever, and that's part of the problem, because, like I said, that's the temptation. And the fact that the internet has definitely, it's broadened, our world, but it's made it harder for us to connect with the people right in front of us. We thinking that we can bone any and everything across this in this world, because we got because we can see any and everything all over across the world. Nah, man. Focus on, like I said, it's so tough though, because we can even go with the dating apps. Dating apps are the same thing. Like, you got 10, 12, 15, 20 different dating apps. And as soon as somebody, you might connect with somebody for a few minutes, but as soon as somebody says something that you might not like, or you just, you're like, okay, boom, what, the next one, I don't want to talk to them no more, because you know where you think that you got access to so many others that you refuse to even, but back in, like I said, back in the day, it's like, if she's playing hard to get, you're gonna put in that extra, time and effort, because that's what you got access to. You don't got all these other schools, or you ain't got all these other, places across the planet that you can you know what? Forget her. She wanna play dumb. I'm gonna go over here and swipe right or whatever. Nah, you had to be like, dang, okay, what am I gonna do? What am I gonna do to really talk to this girl, whatever? You know, you paid closer attention. It was, you know what I mean? So yeah, man, temptation is crazy. You know, like I said, you got so much, you got access to so much any and everywhere. Or like I said, all you gotta do is throw up, 20, 25, 50 to the cash app, and boom, you might be in there. But then on the flip side, you got all these women with OnlyFans. You got all these women with OnlyFans. You know what I'm saying? Don't want to hear nothing if you ain't, if you ain't subscribing to their content, if you ain't buying their content, if you ain't buying no content, I don't want to hear you. So now I gotta, okay, to even talk to you, I gotta spend $50 or $25 just to talk to you. You want to respond? You want to get a reply from me? You gotta subscribe to my OnlyFans and this and this and this and that. I see it all the time on social. You see it all the time, you know. So it's a conundrum. You know what I mean? Like on both sides, we who's responsible for to go like that? It's really a snake eating its tail, you know. So to say it's the women's fault because like I said they got the OnlyFans and all that, can't say that. The men's fault because all they're doing is they're throwing up 50 into the Cash App and they might have the name brand stuff on, or they might have this and they might have that. I mean, we're all it's all of our responsibility to change the paradigm, but it's gonna start. It has to start somewhere, It has to start somewhere. Like so, as men, we gotta, from our aspect, it's a matter of we gotta stop paying attention to the ones online who are shaking their ass and doing all this and this and that. We gotta stop giving them light. But at the same token, we live in a society where everything is entertainment based. So whatever the entertainers are doing, whatever Drake is doing, whatever, I don't know many of these other rappers, you know what I mean? But whatever, a lot of these, whatever the mainstream artists are doing, that's what a lot of these young cats are gonna do. I'm glad I grew up in the era of, Public Enemy, KRS-One, just Big Daddy Kane, you know what I'm saying? Like people who actually had substance with their music and they reflected it. So it wasn't all sex based. It wasn't all, it didn't start happening like that until like the mid 90s. You know what I'm saying? Like the late 90s. And then you start seeing a lot of sexually perverse music. And it's starting to show, I mean, everything was I mean, you can go back to the 70s, you know what I mean? You think about Rick James, I mean, but it was like Rick James or even Parliament and them guys, like they had sexual innuendos and stuff like that, but it was done creatively. It was done in a matter of like, yo, that's creative, But now it's just everything is just overt. There's no creativity about it. There's no real, skill in it. It's all overt. I mean, you got Ice Spice out here, you got Sexy Red, and some of these other ones that are just literally on stage, just in the middle of their raps, turning around and shaking their ass, and Meg Thee Stallion and Cardi B and all these, it's like, whoa, you know what I'm saying? Like, I love a female MC, but I want to hear you MC. I want to hear you. I want to hear the skills. I want to hear Rhapsody. I want to hear, like Lauryn Hill. I want to, Raw Digger, some women with the skills, but like I said, we all know what sells, and sex is at the top of the list. So it's difficult, man. Like we definitely got our hands tied, but I mean, like I said, this is gonna start. It has to start somewhere. It has to be one of those things to where we just take a. I mean, even go back to what we were talking about last week. Just making those, being more precise with your decisions. Just being more, just not letting temptation get to you. Whether like I said, whether actually we were talking about food, but now we talk about talking about the sex. So, you know, and all that comes with that. So yeah, man, it's difficult, you know, but I mean, that's just if you don't really have, you know, I'm actually talking to a lady right now. So it's, you know, I'm looking forward to, you know, that, you know, not having to, you know, because as a single man, I mean, I'm not an ugly dude, so you know what I mean. I get, it gets thrown. I mean, even as men with in relationships, you know what I'm saying? Like we're all still men. We're all upstanding men, and women are attracted to that regardless. You know, so it's like you still have to think. You know, yo, man, you know what I'm saying? You gotta point with that ring, and then it's like even that, like maybe it's it's crazy, you know. So, but yeah, man, you just gotta, as temptation goes, man, you just gotta definitely be smart. Um, Definitely think with this head and not the other one. And the more you can, the more successful in life you will be. I mean, because having a great woman by your side will add to your success. So you can't be out here spread thin and think that you're going to, be successful because you're not concentrating your energy. You're not concentrating your time. You're not putting your energy and time into one thing. You know, if you're spread too thin, how can you be successful at anything if you're spread across too many different channels? You know what I mean? So it's definitely one of those lessons that you learn, as you get older. But it's you got to learn it sooner than later.
Absolutely. Mm. I think some of the guys that, still trying to juggle several women. And in order for that to happen, and they know about one another, because if you're not spending the majority of the time with somebody, they're going to start suspecting something. So the only way you could do that is you would have to keep them happy. And that usually winds up being monetary. So again, you drawing the line in the sand how that relationship is going to work. This is how they're going to deal with you, and this is how you're dealing with them. There is not going to be any kind of emotional, major attachment from them, because you're just a means to an end. They might not even like you, but they like what you provide. So really, I mean, before you go through, I guess, disappointing 3 different people, just try to pour all that energy in one person and see if you can make them happy. Because you're not, I mean, even with your time, you're not going to be able to, spend time like you should. If there's any kind of families involved, like say they have kids or y'all have kids, they're lacking as well, because, you're not there. And even if you are there, you're not there. Your mind's elsewhere. You're thinking about whatever's going on here or there, or how you gonna get to these other places. It's it's childish, really. I don't really have another way else to put it. It's childish thinking. If you're young teenagers just getting in your 20s and you're thinking like that, honestly, even though this conversation is to try to bring about some conversations with other people to try to avoid that and try to limit that, but you're still in that age realm where you're going to screw up. You're just getting out on your own. You just kind of start learning the world, so you're going to screw up. But if you deep in your 30s, going into your 40s, and you still got, if you have thinking the exact same way that you did at 40 years old, that you were at 20 years old, you wasted 20 years of your life. You got to think better and you got to do better at some point, because the trajectory of the rest of your life depends heavily on the decisions that you're making now.
Yeah.
That kind of goes into what I read with the book Atomic Habits. Like it's a tier to it. I don't want to touch on it right now just because I don't want to say something that ain't right. I want to be accurate, but there's like a tier to it. And like understanding your habits, break those barriers, and just kind of touching on what you just said, Henry.
And in speaking to that as well, I mean, I think it was in the book, was it, 7 Habits of Highly Successful People? I think it was in that one or one of the other ones. But basically, um, having sex is it's not a bad thing. Like the most successful people, the most successful men in life have a lot of sex, you know, but it's not with multiple women. It's not, you're not spread thin across, 6, 7, you know what I mean? Like you have a woman that she expresses how she feels for you. You express how you feel for her. And you know what I mean? Like it's a mutual thing, but the most successful men are highly sexed. It's not one of those things, like I said, you don't want to just be out here letting your seed go in anything, even jacking off, ejaculating. That's not healthy. I mean, people, that's you're wasting your seed. You're wasting it. You know what I mean? But if you're putting it into a vessel that's going to return you a great energy, because like they say, man, like if you have sex with a woman and you feel drained afterwards, then that's not the right woman for you. You know what I mean? But if you after you have sex with her and you feel energized, you feel like, yo, you know what I mean? You feel vital, then you got you a good woman. You know, so like I said, having sex is not it's like we all can agree that it's not a bad thing, but you got to make sure that it's concentrated and it's in a form of, like I said, you love that woman, you care for that woman, she loves you, she cares for you, and she shows that and expresses that. And you, I mean, like I said, going back to that, I mean, they say having a good woman by your side is like printing money.
Mhm.
And I can, man, that's real.
Mhm.
That is real. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, don't just, like I said, it's highly important to make sure that, if you find you a good one, you find you a real one, you don't need to be out here, because there's never going to be enough. Bottom line. There's always going to be a woman that's going that you're possibly going to be curious about. If and you have to be able to keep to keep tunnel vision, man. Because like I said, there's always gonna be a woman that you look at that's gonna be like, oh my gosh, I got, you're always going to be enticed to a degree. But if you have that, that metal, that solitude, and understand, like, you know what, you gotta appreciate what you have and know what you have is great, and it's not gonna compare to just that one little night, one little fling that you think that you might want, and you don't even really want it. You know what I'm saying? That's just you thinking with the wrong head. I also wanted to bring up something I was just thinking about it too. Like you think about how like men are in a sense controlled by sex, right? Like we can be controlled by sex, and especially being in America, and everything is over over contextualized. Like we live in a hypersexualized society. Like that that men, we're visual creatures. We're visual. You know what I mean? So like when we see, like, we're naturally affected by that because like I said, our life force is attached to our sperm. Like we have literally hundreds and thousands of beings inside of us. Let's keep it real. You know what I mean? Like they say what every man's ejaculation has what, at least 200-300,000 sperm cells. 200-300,000 each one. That's in like a teaspoon. You know what I mean? Like that's crazy. So like I gave the analogy of yeah, I forget what comedian said it. But he I think it was Sean McBride. No, not Sean McBride, but I forget what his name is. But he said something to the effect of like it's just like 300,000 people trying to get out of one little door. Like once you see a woman and then it's like they think like that's their home in a sense, like that's where they belong. Like they all trying to get out of one little small, small entrance. You know what I mean? Like that's real. Like that's but what I was gonna say is that's part of the reason why in the East Indian East India and stuff like that, and the like I said, you got the Pakistans, you got the all over there in those East Indian countries. Why I guess you would say Muslim countries. Let's put it like that. Muslim countries where you see a lot of the women are fully covered up. It's not to take any power away from the woman. It's actually the complete opposite. It's showing homage to look, your body is so completely overpowering for us. Like it's to show, being like appreciation. Like not everybody deserves to see that body. Your husband is the only one who should be seeing that. Not everybody on the planet. And it's like I said, it's not to make you feel less than. No, that's putting you up on the pedestal. Because like I said, that should be something that's cherished to be able to see, to see your body. It shouldn't just, what I mean? Like it's adding power to it as opposed to making it worth less. What I mean? The fact that any and everybody can see your body, that doesn't make you powerful. That's taking the power. That's taking the power away from you. So it's like people got to understand how powerful the woman's body is, especially when it comes to men, because I said we can be controlled by it, and it's not a good thing. That like I said, it's not a good thing. That's just stating a fact. Woman's body is, like I said, that's the portal of life. You know what I'm saying? So the fact that they can carry a body, carry another human in their body and create a human inside them, and it's not born until it passes through that. You know what I mean? Like that's something powerful. So yeah, man. It just speaks to, like I said, the power of like I said, this other woman's body, and why it definitely should be appreciated more and put up on that higher pedestal, and appreciated, but like I said, the fact that we live in, everything is hypersexualized now, we got our hands tied when it comes to, and it's only getting worse. It's only getting worse. The more, like I said, AI is becoming a big deal. You got all these different things that are going to connect us with more and more, like we've seen the movies throughout our life growing up, you know what I mean? But now it's becoming more and more prevalent. We got, like I said, artificial intelligence to where now we can actually put some goggles on and connect with somebody, clear across the planet, and actually feel them. Not just, see them, but we can actually feel them, So like I said, it's only getting tougher, but we still got to do what we can as men to, respect ourselves. And then by respecting ourselves, that's going to reverberate outwards and, continue to, like I said, respect the women that are around us. So, yeah. Heavy though. It's definitely heavy.
Yep.
Yeah, you unleashed a lot right there, brother. That was some good information right there, bro.
Yeah.
Like it just like you said, having those morals and understanding, like you have a purpose, and your purpose, and even with your seed, man, like your seed is your bloodline, bro. You know what I'm saying? So you have to be careful who you put that with, so that bloodline can set itself is you don't want all of these, and it's like all of the kids that's here, you don't want to keep having all of these kids and having all of them in different homes, and it's that much tougher for you not to be there and nourish that child and be there for that kid, because of a decision that you could have just kind of like walked away from or never even got yourself into from the get-go, so not saying that the kid is a mistake. I'm not saying that at all. That's not what I'm saying. But it's just as far as like thinking beyond that, like, man, like you said, somebody brought it up earlier about like, man, do I want to go through with this decision? You know, and a lot of times we be talking to ourselves like that, but we ignore a lot of things. A lot of times we ignore ourselves. Like, we ignore our conscience of what the right thing to do with some certain things. So you have to be careful about that and protect. And that you feeling that certain energy for a reason, because it's the right thing for you to do is to walk away and avoid the situation from the get go. Make yourself and you know you like I said, and then you have the right people around you. You can talk about it with or whatever you if you slipped up or whatever, man. You can have those people to hold you accountable to say, hey, know, hey, you need to go, you know what to do. You got to do better, and do that. So like you said, like the moral thing, man, is like living with that inside your mind. You got to be very cautious on who you put this bloodline in, bro. Like, because that's going to affect a lot if it's not with the right person. So that's it.
Big facts, big facts. Yeah, Corey had to take off. He was on the road and wasn't getting a good signal. But yeah, I mean, I think like I said, we touched on a lot of great things today, and I know that we're gonna get some good insight. I mean, not necessarily good insight, but yeah, just some feedback from the people. But I think that we also got some good moments that people, when we post the moments, people will want to, tap in and see what the rest of the show is about. So I said, we appreciate everybody who continues to tap in with us. Another great episode. We definitely look forward to, like I said, continuing bringing good information to you guys. And even if it's just nothing but talking points to where you can have that dialogue with you and your loved ones, you and the people that you're with, that's what it's about. It's about having that dialogue. It's about having those conversations. So if we don't do nothing else, if we, we go, like I said, bring that information to have you thinking and dang, that was, that was, let me ask my lady about this, or, the ladies that's watching, let me ask my man about this, whatever. So, like I said, we just appreciate everybody continues to support. Whatever topics you want us to talk about in the coming weeks, don't be afraid to hit us up. You can leave a comment in the comment section. Hit us on IG. However you want to do it. The email information is on our Instagram page as well. So you can email us too. So it's like I said, we just appreciate it. Yeah. You guys want any last words for you fellas?
Yeah, like I said earlier, man, just watch your circle, check your circle out, man. And let's just be careful. Like what Ty say, stay strapped up, do it. If you're gonna do it the right way. You know what I mean? But the importance of health wise, it goes a long way, and it's just like small channels that we tapping into, but it all connects to, taking care of yourself, and being cautious on what we do and our decisions that we make, because it can either be something that you can fix, but it's something that you might not be able to fix too as well. So you need to sit down and calculate your steps, pretty much.
I think that actually sums it up. I can't add nothing to that.
For sure. For sure. Well, yeah, like I said, another great episode, fellas. Like I said, we appreciate everybody tuning in and checking us out on, like I said, on the Bro Foundation on YouTube. Like, share, subscribe. If you know anybody else who could use the information or wants to see what we're talking about, like I said, like, share, subscribe, comment. It's all appreciated. So until next time, y'all, Bro Foundation, we're gone.
Salute.